Hey everyone, we're live here in Scottsdale, Arizona at State Farm Stadium. We're here for the Mecum 2024 auctions. As you can see behind me, there are a ton of exceptionally cool and unique vehicles here, all going up to hit the auction block. So we're going to try to take a look around and see how many of them we can check out up close before they go up to auction, because there's some really special stuff here. So let's go and check it out. Ferrari Enzo coming up on the auction block here. Got some special ones inside the stadium now. Testarossa and an original Murcielago Roadster, yellow Orion color. It's a 2005. Also have a Ferrari Mondial T Cabriolet. Look at this, more exotics over here. 812 GTS from Ferrari, followed by a 599 GTB. All right, we gotta talk about this one. R34 Skyline GTR, of course, but this is an M-Spec NUR. One of the very rare limited editions of this legendary JDM performance vehicle. All right, pair of brand new, or at least newer, Ford GTs. And then look at this, legendary Ferrari F40 next to an Enzo. Two of the legendary Ferrari supercars here at Mecum. Got the Benz SLR McLaren from the mid-2000s. The supercar that came before the SLS AMG, of course. Look at those aero blade wheels, side pipes, front hinged hood on these. And one of my personal favorites here, the Jaguar XF RS, in the color, the definitive color that you have to have, in my opinion, for this car, French Racing Blue. This was one of 200, the top spec, top performance version of the XF sedan at the time. And I've just always loved this era of Jaguar. They were just building some super rambunctious performance vehicles. Of course, they had the XK RS during this period as well. You can get the same color. Both cars are favorites of mine, but the XF RS is a little bit more unusual and rare. And I'm just a sucker for a mid-size performance sedan. Typically something you see from the German brands, of course, but this came from Jaguar. I just love the paint. Very vibrant, maybe polarizing to some people, but I think this is the perfect color for this thing. All right, so what exactly is going on with this blue Porsche here? Well, of course, it's a 992 911 turbo cabriolet with a pretty intense body kit on it. This is actually from Tech Art. It's called the GT Street R. I think there's like 87 or 88 of these built. And in this vibrant color and the intense bodywork, carbon fiber, and these like wheel spats that are thrown onto the lip of the rim. Just looks like a pretty insane look overall. And the massive wing thrown on top of the turbo wing. Not too much changed on the interior, but all about exterior show on this example. And right next to probably my favorite modern Porsche right now, the GT4 RS variant of the 718 Cayman. Of course, the track focus version of the Cayman with the full RS treatment and the signature induction via the rear quarter windows that go right through the interior there to the airbox, making for a super signature sound, especially as you drive along and hear that induction noise behind your head or with the windows open. I've yet to drive one, but man, I would love to. I mean, this is just the ultimate Porsche in my mind. Oh man, this is a nice one here too. Ferrari 348 TS. Of course, the TS is the what we would now call the GTS variant, the targa top for open air driving, compared to the TB hardtop coupe variant that they made alongside it. You can see there the black targa top in place. And you know, the 348 has really been growing on me in recent years. I used to be an F355 fan or die, but yeah, I don't know, the 348, it's seeing them more in person, it's really started to grow on me. I mean, they've got great presence, like any of the Ferraris from this period, having that front wedge shape with the pop-up lights, much like the F355 had, that evolved from this design. And this, of course, is the definitive C7 Corvette to have. The ZR1 with the ZTK track performance package. It's the 3ZR trim, so fully loaded. It's the manual, it's the manual transmission, and it's the hardtop coupe. They, of course, made them in a convertible as well. So if you're not into convertibles, but you're into C7 Vets with the ultimate performance, this is the one you want. It's got everything. It's got the right transmission. It's got all the options. It's got the track pack. And I don't think I've ever seen one in this color myself. I think this is called Spice Red. Looks pretty cool there in the sun. The original star-shaped wheels that I always like these designs. A lot of these ZR1s had them in black finish from the factory, like a gloss black, which I was never too much a fan of. I like them like this, just in their original alloy, clean look. Very nice. All right, this is a badass car. This is the RollsRoyce Kamar. I think I'm saying that right, but this was basically the Wraith. Long before the Wraith even came into this world. Full body, two-door cruiser from Rolls-Royce. Just massive door. Pinstriping down the side. I mean, the thing just has immense stance. It's so long and huge. You know, the personal luxury coupe, as people like to call these segment of vehicles, never were really the volume seller. So it's very exciting to see one of these really in any setting, because not many people really fell in love with these compared to the other brands coming from something like Rolls-Royce or Bentley at the time. And they still don't even sell that well today with, you know, other segments of vehicles like the Benz S-Class coupe that has since gone out of production. The BMW 8 Series in two-door form doesn't sell nearly as well as the Grand Coupe. But this was sort of that answer to that segment of car 40 plus years ago. And I still think it looks great. All right, here's one of my all-time favorite Aston Martin designs, the original V12 Vanquish. Of course, the predecessor to the DBS that followed, to then later be replaced by a new Vanquish, which was then itself replaced by a DBS, the Superleggera to be specific. But this was the ultimate V12 Aston Martin example 20 plus years ago. And the aesthetics on this are not exactly to my taste in terms of the painted wheels and some of the other blacked out exterior trim, but you can't deny that design is still just absolutely flawless. This is a 2002 example. Just love the front end especially. Just had to stop and look at this one real quick. Dodge Coronet Super B, I believe a 1970 model. One of my top favorite classic muscle cars. I just love the aggressive split grille and headlight look up the front of these. The vibrant colors, of course, that Mopar muscle cars were known for. And, you know, the cartoon graphics, of course. You gotta have the Super B logo back here with its additional stripe graphics running down the side. Love this color. Rear end design also looks really nice and aggressive. The twin tailpipes and the Super B badge itself right there. Still just love this thing. I'm not the ultimate muscle car fan, but, you know, I just really love the stance and the overall look of the Mopar cars, and this one's at the top of my list. Really nice example. And I'm loving this right here. I always love the Toyota trucks, both old and new, but this is a really pristine looking Land Cruiser FJ60. Looks to be all original as far as I can tell. Look at that interior condition of the cloth and the plastic and the dash and everything. The boots around the shifter and the four-wheel drive lever. Always just love the Land Cruiser in general. Obviously a huge following for this car, and really nice FJ60s can trade for big money. All right, we have to talk about this interesting thing here. No, this is not an original Ferrari 250 GTO. This is actually a Datsun 240Z that had this body kit put on it to look like the classic Ferrari that of course trades in the tens of millions when the original ones do come up for auction. So not the case here, but you know, an interesting tribute derivative here built on a Datsun to honor that 250 GTO coming up to auction at Mecum. Love it or hate it, pretty interesting. Got a second gen Lamborghini Gallardo Superleggera. Always love these. I think the first gen Superleggera is still my favorite of the two, but not too often you see either one of these generations. And then right here we've got a Lamborghini Huracan Performante, basically the third iteration of the track-only derivative of the series in the space of the Gallardo and the Huracan. This one famous for the introduction of ALA, Lamborghini's rear aerodynamic system here, that you can see printed on the rear wing supports. And you can see the inlets under the wing there that let the air come out, that gets channeled through these rear wing supports, through these ducts here behind the engine cover. Very cool car. And you can also see the unique look to the forged carbon fiber at the back. Almost kind of looks like a bowling ball or something. Very distinctive. Another awesome Aston Martin here on the lot today. This is a Vantage. Of course, you can see it's the roadster version, what they called the Volante. I believe this is a 1988 model. Just really timeless looks on this car. All right, I have to go look at this. This is one of my favorite performance wagons of all time. It's definitely the top American performance wagon. Not as much to choose from there compared to you know, the European performance wagons like an RS6 Avant, an E63S wagon, but the Dodge Magnum SRT8, of course, the full SRT treatment with the V8, Hemi V8 inside, the station wagon only Magnum that they sold here in the mid-2000s. Bit of an oddball car for Dodge. And they gave it a last year refresh in 2008 where it got a little bit of an updated front end design, among a few other things. I think that's the one to have. They did make an SRT8 for that year as well. Incredibly hard to come by, but the SRT8s in general, I just always thought were so cool. I mean, the Magnum name itself is badass. And then you put the SRT treatment on top of that. As long as you kind of ignore the super plasticky interior that Dodge and Chrysler products were making at the time and just focus on the power and the really aggressive exterior looks. Black's probably not my favorite color for the Magnum, but in general, you see a nice clean Magnum SRT8. That's something pretty exciting. Here's some cool Mustangs, a pair of nearly identical GT500 Super Snakes. You could get the package for on top of the standard GT500. But then next to it, something even cooler that I honestly don't know too much about. This is the GT350, I guess, package that Ford and Shelby partnered on around 2011 for the Mustang at the time. I think there were like less than 200 of these made. And, you know, obviously they're paying tribute to the original GT350 car right there from the 60s when the Mustang first came out and started to go racing with Shelby. And they made this as sort of a performance and cosmetic package to put on the Mustang. You can see Carroll's signature there on the dash. Lots of other areas there too in the center console. Special plaque celebrating the 45th anniversary of Shelby American. I'm looking at that plaque there to see it has a chassis number, but I'm not sure, again, how many of these they made exactly. I assume they were all the classic white with blue Lamaze stripe color sequence. I always thought these were just really cool. I'm not always into everything done that's retro, but I thought this was pretty faithful. It's got the rear quarter windows blocked off there with another Carroll Shelby badge or sticker. Pretty cool.